Tomorrow morning, you're going to open the fridge, grab something and eat it standing up. Maybe cereal, maybe eggs, maybe just coffee. You'll call that breakfast. But here's the strange part. For roughly 2 million years of human history, nobody woke up and ate breakfast. No fixed meal times, no morning ritual, no box of cereal waiting on the counter. Your ancestors didn't eat 3 meals a day. They ate when food was available, and not 1 hour before that. Sometimes that meant eating right after waking up. Sometimes it meant going 12 hours with nothing in their stomach at all. There was no schedule, no clock. No first meal of the day. So the real question isn't what cavemen ate for breakfast. It's this: did breakfast even exist? The answer is stranger than you think, and it starts with a piece of fossilized tooth. Here's the truth. Breakfast is not a biological need. It's a cultural invention. The word itself gives it away. Break fast. You break a fast. That implies a fast existed in the first place, a stretch of hours. Sometimes a full day, with no food at all. For most of human history, that gap wasn't optional. It was just life. Early humans weren't 3 meals a day eaters. They were opportunistic eaters. Find food, eat food, no food nearby, wait. A tribe might eat once in the morning, nothing until dusk, then a second meal before dark. Or they might eat 5 small times in a single day if food was everywhere. Or once if it wasn't. There was no should and no must about timing. Only availability. So forget the image of a caveman sitting down to a fixed morning meal. That image is modern. What actually happened was messier, more seasonal, and far more interesting. So how do we actually know any of this? Cavemen didn't leave menus behind. They left teeth, buried in the hardened plaque on ancient teeth called dental calculus. Researchers have found microscopic traces of what people actually chewed. Starch grains, plant fibers, tiny fragments of seeds. One study on Neanderthal teeth found evidence of cooked grains, wild grasses, and even dates trapped in the calculus, tens of thousands of years old. Bone chemistry tells a second story. Scientists analyze isotopes in bone collagen, specific carbon and nitrogen signatures, to figure out roughly how much of a person's diet came from plants versus animals. The results surprised a lot of people. Early humans weren't eating meat at every meal. Depending on the region and the season, plants often made up the majority of daily calories. Roots, tubers, nuts, berries, wild greens. Meat was there too, but it was inconsistent, seasonal, and often shared among the entire group rather than eaten alone. The image of a caveman gnawing a giant meat bone at sunrise? Mostly myth, and that diet didn't stay the same. It shifted with the seasons, the same way a farmer's crop shifts month to month. In spring, early humans in many regions ate young shoots, eggs from ground nesting birds, and the first fresh greens after winter. In summer, it was fruit, berries, and small game food that was easy to find and didn't need much preparation. In autumn, the focus turned to calorie-dense food that could last: nuts, seeds, and starchy roots dug from the ground. In winter, when almost nothing was growing, groups relied on stored fat reserves in their own bodies, dried meat if they had it, and whatever tubers could still be found underground. 3 things stayed constant across every season. Food was shared, food was unpredictable, and food was eaten close to where it was found. There was no pantry, no fridge, no 3-day buffer of backup meals. If a morning started with food nearby, that food got eaten immediately no matter the hour. If it didn't, the body simply waited. That single fact, eat now, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, shaped human digestion for nearly 2 million years. Here's a specific number that puts this in perspective. Some isotope studies estimate that in certain Paleolithic populations, plant foods made up 65 to 80% of daily caloric intake, depending on climate and location. That's not a rounding error. That's most of the diet. Compare that to the modern image most people carry around: meat-heavy, protein first, bacon and eggs at dawn. That image comes from 20th century marketing, not from evolutionary history. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, whose lifestyles offer a rough window into ancestral patterns, have documented the same pattern repeatedly. The Hadza people of Tanzania, for example, get a large share of their calories from tubers, berries, and honey, not from meat alone. Meat was valuable. Meat was celebrated. But meat was not the daily foundation people assume it was. And meal timing? Studies of these same groups show wide variation, some eating once a day, some eating in small amounts throughout the day, based entirely on what the environment provided that particular morning. No fixed hour, no fixed plate, no fixed rule. The evidence keeps pointing to the same conclusion. Breakfast, as a scheduled morning ritual, is a human invention, not a human need. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone. The caveman diet people picture today, heavy meat, minimal plants, protein at every meal, is closer to a modern marketing invention than an accurate picture of ancient eating. The actual pattern, based on isotope analysis and dental evidence across multiple regions, leans plant forward. Roots, wild grains, nuts, legumes, seasonal fruit. Meat mattered, but it was inconsistent, often communal, and far from guaranteed. Hunting large animals was dangerous, unreliable, and physically exhausting. Digging up a tuber was neither of those things. That means the most dependable food source for early humans wasn't the dramatic mammoth hunt everyone imagines. It was the ground beneath their feet. This flips the popular narrative. The hunter gets the spotlight in movies and documentaries. The gatherer, usually doing the more consistent, lower-risk work, rarely does. But the data suggests gathering, not hunting, is what actually kept most groups fed on an average morning. No fixed breakfast, no meat-first rule, no dramatic hunt before sunrise. Just people eating whatever was closest, most available, and most reliable. And that was almost always something pulled from the earth, not chased across it. So where did the modern image of breakfast cereal, 3 meals a day, most important meal of the day, actually come from? Mostly from the last 150 years, not the last 2 million. Fixed meal times became common with factory work schedules in the 1800s, when workers needed a set time to eat before a shift started. Before that, meal timing in most of the world stayed loose and seasonal, much like it had for early humans. The cereal box on your counter has an even shorter history. Breakfast cereal was heavily marketed starting in the early 1900s, partly by companies trying to sell a specific product, not by any nutritional necessity. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day wasn't handed down from evolution. It was a marketing phrase that stuck. None of this means breakfast is bad. It means the specific form, same time, same plate, every single day is a modern habit, not an ancient rule. Your body evolved for flexibility. Eat when food is available, don't panic when it isn't. The rigid 7 a.m. alarm clock breakfast? That's closer to office culture than human biology. So what does this actually mean for your morning? It means the guilt around skipping breakfast or eating breakfast too late isn't rooted in ancient biology. Your body isn't broken if your first meal is at 7 a.m. one day and 11 a.m. the next. It means variety matters more than ritual. Roots, greens, nuts, seasonal fruit, and occasional meat spread across a flexible pattern is closer to how humans actually ate for most of history than any fixed morning routine. It means hunger cues, not the clock, were the original signal for eating. For nearly 2 million years, people ate because their body told them to, not because a certain hour arrived. None of this is medical advice, and it's not a call to change your routine overnight. It's simply a different lens. The next time you feel pressure to eat a proper breakfast at a proper time, remember that pressure is recent. Your biology has been flexible for far longer than any modern rule has existed. The clock is new. The hunger is ancient. Trust the second one more than the first. Tomorrow morning, you're going to open the fridge, grab something, and eat it standing up. That part hasn't changed, but now you know the rest of the story. There was no ancient breakfast table, no fixed hour, no meat-heavy plate waiting at sunrise. There was only availability, flexibility, and a body built to handle both feast and gap without falling apart. 2 million years of eating whenever food showed up, 150 years of eating on a schedule, and one modern habit, the 7 a.m. alarm clock breakfast that feels ancient but isn't. So eat when your body asks. Skip it when it doesn't. Choose the roots, the greens, the variety, not because a marketing campaign told you to, but because that's closer to what actually kept humans alive for most of history. The fridge hasn't changed. The food inside it has changed completely. But now you know exactly what you're actually reaching for.